Good morning, Central. Welcome, everyone. Love you too. I don't know who that was, but I probably love you. So I have an announcement, but first, I need somebody to give me a drum roll. We have Sonia from Bethel, Missouri, to talk to you about missions opportunities.
Thank you. Hey, I can't see you guys. I'm sorry that you can see me. No, not really. I'm glad to be here. Hey, we're looking forward to an exciting opportunity. How many of you are mission majors? Raise your hand. How many of you are Christian ministry majors? How about cross-cultural studies? Yeah, okay. Well, specifically for you guys, we have a great opportunity coming up. You know, you've probably been asked the question, what in the world are you doing, right? From your mom maybe years ago, a long time ago, or maybe your professor, who knows? But how about if I ask you, what are you doing in the world? And that's what we're here to talk about. We have what is called the Next Step Missions event that's taking place just 45 minutes from here this weekend. Friday night, we start off with a supper, and we are bringing in missionaries from all over the world. Some of them are even Central Christian College of the Bible alumni that are coming back. And so it is no cost to you. We want you to come and enjoy the weekend. If you can't be there for the whole weekend, but you can be there like on Saturday or Friday night, you'll still get a good dose of what missions is all about and cross-cultural ministry and Christian ministry around the world. We want you to come because it's an opportunity to talk with missionaries that are actually on the field, and they have experiences that is fresh from the field right now. It's your chance to ask questions and to just really get into the heart and mind of what is at the heart of the different types of ministry. It might be a community development, Bible translation, teaching, student ministry, international student ministries. We're going to have all of those represented. We even have people coming as far as Papua New Guinea to be with us this weekend. We would love to give you the chance to interact with these missionaries. And it's a very non-threatening, very laid-back weekend, but we spend time in worship together. We spend time praying for ministries around the world. You're not making any commitment to Outreach International because it's really not about us anyway. But we believe everybody deserves a chance to hear the gospel. And because we believe that, we want to provide you with the opportunity to learn about the opportunities around the world and to hear firsthand testimonies from missionaries and cross-cultural workers that say, hey, I wish I would have known this before I went. Or, hey, this was really challenging, but this was a great victory. And just get a glimpse of what the world situation is today in terms of cross-cultural ministry, Christian ministry, and missions in general. So please come and be a part of it. If you would just text us just text Next Step to 660-651-1898. Then we will send you a registration form. The only reason we ask for you to register is so that we know what size T-shirt you need and how many people we're going to be feeding this weekend. So we would love to have you do that. We are going to be, my husband Dale, we call him Crash right now because he's all banged up. He's in the back, and we will be in that corner right there. We'll be glad to hand you information that you can text us, and you can get that information from us. We would love to have you come. We're going to have great food, great fellowship, great prayer time, worship time, and again, you'll be interacting with people from places like Papua New Guinea, Australia, from that are involved in international ministry to students from Japan, and lots of interaction that will be taking place. Please come and join us. We'd love to have you, and thanks for your time. God bless you guys.
Thanks so much, Sonia. So I have a secondary announcement. If you ever go to the bathroom this day, you'll notice that there are expo markers near the mirrors, and if you want to write something encouraging, just to your your fellow brother and sisters in Christ, go ahead and do that just to kind of look on the inside instead of on the outside. We also appreciate Poznich for willing to come and speak for Revival week. I keep saying the wrong things. So let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for today. Thank you that we can come and worship you together. I pray that this time would be used to glorify you, and our hearts would be open to learning something new. And in Jesus' name, amen.
Well, in the spirit of Mr. Ammon, good morning, church. Let's stand and let's worship together this morning. Came to set the captives free. You came to give us liberty. My sin and my rejection meant your blood and my acceptance. Now I'm alive to bring you praise. Blood has covered every sin. Your grace empowers me to win. My pain, my oppression meant your blood and my acceptance. Now I'm alive to bring you praise. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Every chain is broken through you, Jesus. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Whoa.
Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Every chain is broken through you, Jesus. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is
of sadness from wherever you've been. Come broken-hearted, let rescue begin. Come find your mercy, oh sinner, come kneel. Earth has no sorrow that heaven can't heal. Earth has no sorrow that heaven can't heal. So lay down your burdens, lay down your shame. All who are broken, lift up your face. Oh, wanderer, come home. You're not too far. So lay down your hurt, lay down your heart, and come as you are. There's hope for the hopeless and all those who stray. Come sit at the table, come taste the grace. There's rest for the weary, rest that endures. Earth has no sorrow that heaven can't cure. So lay down your burdens, lay down your shame. All who are broken, lift up your face. Oh, wanderer, come home. You're not too far. So lay down your hurt, lay down your heart, come as you are, come as you are, fall in His arms, come as you are. There's joy for the morning, oh sinner, be still. Earth has no sorrow that heaven can't heal. Earth has no sorrow that heaven can't heal. So lay down your burdens, lay down your shame. All who are broken, lift up your face. Oh, wanderer, come home. You're not too far. So lay down your hurt, lay down your heart, come as you are, come as you are, come as you are, come as you are.
Who am I that the highest King would welcome me? I was lost, but He brought me in. Oh, His love for me. Oh, His love for me. Who the Son sets free, oh,
There's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. So this week's theme is Prodigal. And we chose these songs to kind of go with that theme about just coming back to God and who we are in God's embrace. And this week, as Poznich comes up and he preaches, he's going to be looking at Luke 15, and he's going to be sharing the stories of people who are in that sermon. And I pray that you guys will listen up, because that story is all of us. Each one of us are prodigals in our own way. Each one of us need to come back to Christ. So I pray that as we finish this up and as Poznich comes out and preaches, that we focus and that we ourselves will say we need to come back to God. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am who you say I am. Oh, I am who you say I am. Yes, I am who you say I am. The sun sets free, always free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen anybody on this long, dusty road. Where are you headed? No kidding. That's just near my village. We're practically neighbors. Would you mind if I walked with you? It's been a long, lonely ride. Oh, I'm sorry. I should probably introduce myself. How rude of me. My name is Tobin. Nice to meet you. You don't recognize me? You don't know my name? That's actually a bit of a relief. Kind of surprised. I thought for sure everybody knew what I did. I screwed up. I think I've gone too far. Don't worry, you're not going to get in trouble for being associated with me or being seen with me. I went too far. I don't see how I could ever come back home. Been walking for quite a while. A lot of time to think. You're probably wondering what I did. Oh, when I get back to my village, there's going to be a party waiting for me. They're going to have a ceremony in my honor. Not the kind of ceremony you want. Not the kind of party that you want thrown for you. We call it a kezazah. It's a cutting off party. When somebody humiliates or shames his family in his village, they have this cutting off ceremony as a way of saying, you're not welcome here. You're not one of us. You don't belong here. Usually all the teenage boys gather around this person and they start singing and dancing, mocking him, spitting in his face, throwing animal feces at him. I can already imagine their taunts. Tobin is dead to us. Tobin is dead to us. Leave in a flash, you piece of trash. You're not welcome here. Look, I didn't say they were creative. They're just mean. I don't know if I want to go back. You know, it started off with just a sibling rivalry. My brother Simeon is 4 years older than me. And growing up, everything was a competition. Mom would send out a servant every day at lunchtime, letting us know that lunch was ready, and we would always race back. Mom always stood in the entryway. She was the finish line. I wanted to beat him so bad, but I never could. He was always faster, stronger, better at everything. Better looking, better respected, better behaved. I was always the runt, the rebel, the free spirit of the family. As we got older, our sibling rivalry intensified, and so did my jealousy. Do you know what it's like? Constantly living in somebody else's shadow? Thinking that you're never going to be good enough? That no matter how hard you try, you're never going to measure up. I got tired of it. Tired of hearing other people say how great Simeon was. He's Mr. Do No Wrong and I'm Mr. Do No Right. He's Mr. Perfect, I'm Mr. Imperfect. Simeon, you are wise beyond your years. Simeon, you are a great young man. You will make a great village leader one day. Simeon, you're the hardest working teenager we've got. I sure wish the other teenagers in our village could be like you. Simeon, 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 it's always Simeon. I got tired of it. Tired of always being in my older brother's shadow. I realized I had to go find myself. I had to go explore the world, and the only way that I could do that was to get out from underneath my mom and dad's thumb. So one day, after a long day in the field, I came back into the house, furious, enraged. Here's why. That day, my brother had planted twice as much seed as I had. You should have seen the look on Father's face. Beaming from ear to ear. So proud. Why didn't he look at me like that? He never looks at me like that. Because I'm not Simeon. I'm not Mr. Perfect. So I walk through the front door and I see our chief servant Obed. He's hemming up one of Simeon's robes. And the moment I laid eyes on that robe, all of the rage inside of me exploded. I grabbed it, yanked it, ripped it, and I threw it to the ground. Simeon, Obed, always the cool one. Young Tobin, calm down. No need to take out your aggression on a piece of clothing. I'm sorry, Obed. You're right. I just get so tired of living in his shadows. I get so tired of being compared to him. Feeling like no matter how hard I try, no matter what I do, I'm never good enough. That I never measure up. Tobin, I think it's time for me to go explore. To go out into this world and discover who I am. Find myself. Young Tobin, your place is here. With your family. With your village. No, Obed, not anymore, it's not. No, tomorrow I'm gonna ask Father to give me what is rightfully mine. To give me my share of the inheritance. Obed tried to talk me out of it. Young Tobin, you've gone too far this time. Don't you understand? You would ruin your family's reputation. If you even live to see another day, you know our traditions, Tobin. Your father could excommunicate you. Send you out of town without a job, without a home, and without a shekel to your name. Tobin, this is too far. Didn't matter, my mind was made up. So the next morning, Obed was setting the table for breakfast. Mom and Dad were already in there talking about the village news. When Simeon rushed through the door, robe in hand, he took one glance at me and he hurled it in my direction. Tobin, you've gone too far this time. Father looked up. Tobin, what did you do? It was an accident, I swear. Tobin, just tell the truth. What happened? I promise, I didn't mean to. Tobin, just tell us what happened. We'll understand. Dad, you're always taking Simeon's side. He bursts through the door and accuses me of something, and you just assume he's telling the truth. Dad, I am tired of this. I'm tired of him. I'm tired of you. I'm tired of the roof that we live under. I'm tired of this village. Tobin, calm down. I will not calm down, Dad. No, I'm sick of this. Settle down, son. No, you settle down, Dad. You know what? I hate you. Dad, you can go to hell. Give me my share of the inheritance. That's funny. Because the way that you're looking at me now is the way that everybody was looking at me in that room. Eyes wide, mouths gaping open. Obed stood there, frozen, at the edge of the counter, holding a basket of bread, suspended in time. Even Simeon was speechless. Father slowly stood to his feet, and I gulped, realizing what I had said. He turned toward me. Okay, son, if this is what you wish, I will divide the land and the livestock, and I will give you your third of the inheritance. Is this what you wish? Okay. He walked out. A few hours later, he came back with some official documents, what was rightfully mine. He said one thing as he handed them to me. Son, I love you very much. And in response, I said nothing. I grabbed the documents and I walked away. Word spreads pretty fast around here because everybody knows everything about everyone in my small village. Didn't take long before word to spread to everybody in the village that I had demanded my inheritance and that my father had accepted. They knew that I was going to be trying to sell off everything. I couldn't travel with it, so nobody was going to pay me what it was worth. I knew that. So I sold off all the land, all the livestock for about half of what it was worth. I didn't care. It was richer than I had ever been before. So I took the money, I took a couple changes of clothes, some bread, some water, I put it in a knapsack, and I took off on a journey a long way to Gentile territory where nobody would know my name. I just began walking 15 to 20 miles a day. A few weeks later, I had gone about 350 miles. I figured that's far enough. They won't know who I am, what I did, who my family is, or where my village is. When I got to this new community, this new town, I wanted to fit in. It was pretty obvious I wasn't one of them. They could tell by looking at the way I was dressed. My physical features gave me away. I was Jewish and everybody knew it. But I wanted to fit in. Sure, there were other Jews that were there, but they were like me. They were running from something, trying to escape something back home. I was too. I just wasn't sure what I was escaping. Simeon's shadow? My parents' oversight? My village's traditions? I don't know. But I wanted to fit in. So I hired a realtor and I rented a penthouse suite on Town Square. I went shopping, got a brand new wardrobe so I could fit in. You know, sometimes fitting in costs you more than just money. Sometimes it costs you your integrity, your character, your morals, your values. It cost me. There was a theater district on one side of town, shows, comedy performances, but on the other side, on the outskirts of town, there was an underground fighting ring. We'd go there late at night. There were bookies to take our bets. We'd place money down who we thought was going to win. Wasn't long before every night I was there till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning placing bets. And then there were the girls. I don't know that they were really into me. I think they just enjoyed the expensive gifts, the lavish dates. Didn't matter to me, though. I got attention. A couple of those girls and a couple of those bookies introduced me to this new drug that was locally grown. At first, I tried it just to fit in with everybody else. But after I tried it, I realized that made me feel a way that I had never felt before. However, after some time, the feeling that I got was a feeling of guilt and shame. Like there was this cloud that was hovering over my head that I could not escape. I knew that my family would be embarrassed or ashamed of my behavior. I knew that my God would not accept the lifestyle that I had chosen. So I continued taking the drug just to numb myself from the guilt and the shame. Sometimes fitting in costs you more than just money. But even the money ran out eventually. Had to sell back my wardrobe. When I couldn't pay rent, they kicked me out of the penthouse. Bookies would no longer take my bets. And the girls, when I passed by, they just looked the other way. There I was on the street with nothing to my name. I knew that I had to take some drastic measures. I had to find work if I was going to survive. But who would hire a guy like this? I mean, I had built a reputation as being a lazy, good-for-nothing partier who slept all day and partied all night. So I went around to every unethical scumbag employer in town seeing if they would hire me. Nope. No work. To make matters worse, a famine broke out. And I knew the poorest of the poor are the ones most affected by our famines. I knew there was a chance that if I don't do something drastic, I could die in this famine. One day, a local farmer came into the town. He was buying some supplies for his farm. I recognized him. I had seen him before. He was carrying a money bag. Didn't look like the famine had impacted him too much. He was rich. So I decided I will cling to him. So I went up right next to him at the first marketplace shop. As he was paying, I got about 2 inches from his shoulder. I grabbed his bags. I said, "Here, let me help you. I'll carry these." And I clung by his side the rest of the day. As he went from shop to shop, as he made purchases, I would grab the bags and I would load myself up. By the end of the day, he was done. He said, "Thanks for your help, but I'll take it from here." He reached into his money pouch and he pulled out a gold coin. I said, "Oh, thanks, but why don't you let me carry these back to your home? I'm sure you could use an extra set of hands on the farm, especially during this famine." I think he could tell that he wasn't really going to be able to get rid of me that easily, so he just sighed. "Come on. Do you even know what kind of a business I operate?" I know you're a farmer. I could tell by the supplies that you've been purchasing. My family operates a farm back home, too. Back home, huh? And where exactly is back home? Don't worry about it. It's a long way from here. You look Jewish. Do you even know what kind of farm I run? Does it matter? He just looked straight ahead. That depends. Do you mind working with pigs? I think he could tell by the look on my face I was a little uncomfortable. So he stopped in the middle of the road and he said, "Look, I appreciate what you're doing, but I know you're Jewish, and I know that your people think pigs are unclean, and people who work with pigs are unclean. You don't have to do this." And with a look of determination, I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "All right, if you want a job on my farm, you can feed my pigs." I think he thought it would get rid of me. But I dropped the bags, I stuck out my hand, and I said, "You have yourself a deal." And we walked back to the farm. I began feeding the pigs, all by myself, all alone. Nobody to talk to, nobody to keep me company. Day after day, all by myself. Just me and the pigs. So I named him Porky, Porky Jr., Pork Chop, Ham Bone, the Baconator, and Cowboy Larry. He was my favorite. One day I was feeding the pigs, and I realized I probably should have negotiated a salary package or some sort of benefits package before I just agreed to work. Because my stomach started to rumble. I realized I haven't eaten in like a week. It wasn't necessarily because the farmer wouldn't offer me anything. It was because the small things that he would offer me were detestable. Leftover parts from pigs that he had butchered, snouts and hooves and intestines. Look, even I have my moral limitations. So I figured it's better not to eat. I didn't. But as I was feeding these carob pods to these pigs, we don't have them around here. They're these pods with beans and this gelatin-like substance, no nutritional value. Pigs can survive on them. We can't. As I'm feeding these carob pods to these pigs, I actually start getting jealous of them. Now, it's one thing to be jealous of your older brother, Simeon. It's another ballgame to be jealous of the pigs you're feeding. I actually got down on my knees and started leaning over the pig trough, thinking I would slop up some of the food with them. I was looking Porky Jr. in the eye. Cowboy Larry right beside me. Finally, I had an awakening. Came to my senses. Tobin, what in the world are you doing? Jealous of pigs? When every servant back in your father's house has plenty food to eat, maybe it's time to go home. But I can't just go home. I can't just pretend as if the last year hadn't happened. What am I going to do? Stroll in and be like, hey, Dad, so how are things? Good? How's the family? Good? How's Simeon? Great, grand. No, not after what I've done. Not after what I've said. Not after the life I've lived. Can't happen. Maybe he would accept me back as a servant. I know he wouldn't accept me back as a son, but maybe a servant. Maybe he would hire me as one of his servants. Who am I kidding? I have no hireable skills unless he's looking for somebody to feed pigs. Maybe he would let me work with a servant. And the servant could train me and I could learn a skill, and then maybe he would hire me as a servant and I could begin to pay off some of the inheritance that I blew. Maybe. It's worth a shot. But how do I even start that conversation? So I start brainstorming what I'm going to say. Father, I was wrong. That's not good enough. That's pretty obvious. Let's see. Something better than that. Father, I was naive. I was stupid. I didn't know what I was saying. I didn't mean it. Yeah, but there's still something missing. I got it. Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. Yeah, that's good. Bring God into the equation. Maybe he would think I've matured, or at least think twice about being vindictive toward me. Father, I've sinned against heaven and against you. Then what? Maybe I just try honesty. I am no longer worthy to be your son. Make me as one of your hired servants. That's not bad. That might work. Now that I had my speech in place, my plan in place, I was ready. So I told the pig farmer, I'm gone. I'm out of here. He gave me a couple slices of bread for the road, and I took off. And for the last 3 weeks, I have been reciting that speech over and over and over and over in my head, not because I needed to. I had it memorized on the first day, but because I wanted to keep my mind off of what waits for me. I can already hear the taunts of those teenagers. Tobin is dead to us. I could probably face that. But what if my dad excommunicates me like he should have done the first time? Or worse, what if my brother Simeon sees me first and he comes out to greet me bearing a sword? I don't know if this is a good idea. Maybe I ought to turn around and go home. Go back to the pig farm. I would. I'm just not sure I could survive the trip. What do you think? Have I gone too far? Is my future without hope? Am I a dead man walking? I'm afraid I've gone too far. I don't know if I could ever go home. Oh, look, here we are. I've been talking this whole time and we're at your stop. I'm sorry. Thanks for listening. It's been helpful to share this. In fact, I haven't shared it with anybody before. It's been a pleasure to meet you. You guys should come back and visit sometime. Check out my village. I'd love to show you around. Tell you what happens, assuming I live to tell about it. Well, I'll let you get going. Take care.
Would he be welcomed or excluded?
Welcome. I guess you probably weren't expecting to see me so soon. I wasn't expecting to see you either. Thanks for coming. I guess you're probably wondering what happened after we departed yesterday. Well, I was approaching my village, about 200 yards away from the gate, and I could tell they recognized me. Sure, I've lost some weight the last year. I've got some bags under my eyes because of my lifestyle, but they could still tell who I was. All the teenagers, they started gathering together. They were scrambling around. They start running down the street. So I stopped, put my head down, took a deep breath. I looked up. And in the distance behind them was a gray-bearded man who hiked up his cloak and began running down the hillside, running down the street in my direction. It was my father. He yelled out, "Tobin, my son! Is that you, my son?" I couldn't tell by the tone of his voice if he was happy to see me or angry. But he just kept running and running. The teenagers stopped in their tracks and they turned around and they looked to see a sight they had never seen before. A grown man running in the most undignified of ways. And they just stepped out of the way and he ran past. He didn't stop when he got to the city gate. He just kept on running. 200 yards apart, and I stood there motionless. I couldn't see the expression on his face yet. I didn't know if he was going to verbally attack me. How dare you show your face around here, Tobin? After what you did, after what you said, you turn around and you go back the way you came. I never want to see you again. He would have been within his rights. Or maybe he was going to physically reject me. A backhanded slap to the face, letting everybody in the village know that I am unwelcome. He would have been within his rights. So I stood there. And he just kept approaching faster and faster and faster. He got about 20 yards away, and I noticed something. It looked like moisture on his cheeks. Has he been crying? Were those tears? He cried out, "Tobin, my son, you're alive!" And I could see he's fighting back tears. His lip is quivering. And I couldn't hold it back anymore. I broke down. And he just keeps running in my direction. And he's not slowing down. So I brace for impact. My dad's a big guy. He gets to me running full speed. He throws his arms around my neck, and we tumble to the ground. And he grabs my head and kisses my forehead over and over and over, saying, "My son, Tobin, I love you, my son, my son." We stood up, and I launched into my "I'm sorry" speech. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." And when I said those words, I realized how true they were. I couldn't finish the rest of my speech. I knew I was not worthy to be called his son. And yet 6 times by my count in the last 60 seconds, he had identified me as his son. Who is this Father of mine? His grace is undeniable. His love is limitless. His compassion knows no ends. Our family servant Obed had been running behind him the entire way. He finally showed up, huffing out of breath. My dad looked at him and said, "Obed, grab one of my best robes for my son. Get him out of these rags. Grab a pair of sandals for his feet. Grab one of my family signet rings and put it on his hand. Let everybody know I am welcoming him back as my son." Oh, and Obed, send out some invitations because we're having a party tomorrow. You know that calf we've been fattening for a special occasion? This is a pretty special occasion. Let everybody know we're celebrating tomorrow because my son I thought was dead, he's alive again. He was lost, he's been found. And Obed just nodded, grinned, "Yes, sir." He turned and walked away. I said, Dad, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to be called your son, not after what I've done. The mistakes I've made, what I said to you. Dad, if you only knew. Dad, it's all gone. All the inheritance, it's gone. I've gone too far. I've gone too far. Dad, I'm so sorry. He just patted me on the back. I know, son, but there's no time for apologies today. We've got a party ready. We got to get you cleaned up. Come on, let's go home. So here we are. Thanks for coming. Yeah, that's my dad. His robe, his sandals, his ring. I was right about one thing. I am not worthy to be this man's son. I don't deserve it. Not his love, not his grace, not his mercy, not his compassion. But I was wrong about one thing too. I thought I was too far gone to come home. But with a father like that, you're never too far gone to come home. Come on. Let me show you around before the party starts.